Hello and welcome to the Garden of Glass. Maybe I should back up, eh? The Garden of Glass is a skyblock mode for Botania. In the Garden of Glass, you spawn on this little 3x3x4 block of dirt with a single mana flash and the Lexica Botanica, the guide to the mod. Underneath, if you dig down, you will see a single source block for water and several blocks of living roots. It will give you individual living roots. You can use the living roots as bone meal, and if you plant the floral fertilizer, it will give you mystical petals or mystical flowers. And using those, you can start to summon flowers. To summon flowers, you need something called a petal apothecary. To make a petal apothecary, you'll need wood, because you need a crafting table. So plant the oak sapling, get some living roots, bone meal it up, get some wood, make your crafting table, some bowls, use the bowls to make a bowl of water, fill the petal apothecary with a bowl of water, follow the quest book to get a pure daisy. If you progress a bit, then your world might look something like this, where you've got some furnaces, some iron smelted up, you've got some pumpkins and some crops, and you have a really basic entropinium setup which will generate a little bit of mana. At this point, you'll want to make yourself a mob farm of some sort. Once you have your mob farm together, then you'll have some general mob drops. Craft up a fell pumpkin. Get yourself a sword or an axe of some sort. Make a convenient killing chamber for what we're about to do. Craft up some iron bars. Place the iron bars in your convenient killing chamber, and place the fell pumpkin on top. That will summon a very weak blaze that you can then kill. And it'll drop a little bit of blaze powder. You can combine the blaze powder together into blaze mesh. You place your blaze mesh down next to your pure daisy, and it will refine into obsidian. Once you've got your obsidian and you've refined some more, you can make the shape of another portal. Once you've got that done, you can just make a fire charge, light it, and go into the nether. Nether is totally normal, but it is at this point you have access to some of the new resources from the nether, like dirt, flint, and other useful stuff like that. And at that point, off you go. But I didn't want to do a full Let's Play, so if you're interested in the mod, which I highly recommend you check out, you should absolutely download it and play it for yourself. It's a lot of fun, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to show you what I think a perfect Garden of Glass world would look like. This thing is going to be amazing. We're going to build a giant castle in the sky inspired by the song from Les Mis. So without further ado, let's hit it. Here it is. This is my castle in the clouds, my perfect Botania Skyblock world. So let's take a bit of a tour. So first off, on the outside, we have kind of just a mess, honestly. I wanted to build with as much like noise in my building as I possibly could, while still having some order. If you've read C.S. Lewis, then you might recognize this as kind of a compilation of spires, like a castle all built out of towers, all going up to the sky. That was kind of one of my inspirations for this. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different towers that kind of have some order, but are also kind of all a little lopsided. Everything's also just kind of overgrown and leafy and naturey, which kind of fits Botania's mode of like natural magic. But yeah, if we go into the Great Hall, kind of front entranceway, it is all kind of overgrown and like all lit up, of course. But it is all overgrown and like all leafy with this, this big like leafy ceiling, and it's got parrots on the inside. And I believe I have all 5 parrot varieties in here. But you will obviously, since it is modded, notice some stuff that is very strange. First off, you'll see these things. These are called pylons. They have various different uses in the mod. Here's my big storage system. It's all organized by the resources here. So this is sand, this is clay, this is living wood, which is a new wood variety that Botania adds, which actually just looks amazing. It's just really nice chocolatey brown texture that I just love. I did all the framing with it. Really beautiful. And then all of these are called metamorphic cobblestones. This one is cobbled swamp cobblestone. It's swamp cobblestone. Anyway, so there are several of those in addition to living rock, which is kind of an equivalent to stone, but another of these really nice, like warmer textures that Botania adds a bunch of, and then of course cobblestone. So these are all, by the way, automatically generating. Botania is absolutely a tech mod. It's not really a magic mod, it's a tech mod that gives you a whole bunch of gizmos and fun along the way. So all of these are actually self-replenishing, so if I grab some sand out of here, there's a mechanism down below there that will produce sand until it gets to where it is now. There's this really neat like colored floor pattern that I had on a previous world, and I was like, oh, I should absolutely bring that and change it to be here. And then I've got my my bulk storage of stuff that doesn't really warrant making a storage system, but I do want to have it ready on hand because it's kind of a pain in the neck to craft, like bricks and like calcite and like nether bricks and all stuff like that. So if you notice up here, there's this really rugged staircase up to this area. It's kind of a neat double helix pattern where like this is all alive and this is more like spooky and overgrown. But this area is all big and flat, and that's for a reason. And the reason is that this is an arena. And the Garden of Glass actually adds a boss fight, and that is the Gaia Guardian. Now the Gaia Guardian, again, is the boss of Botania, but there's a challenge to beat a Gaia Guardian without any armor at any point during the fight. That's tricky, but we are going to do it right now, and I'm going to show you how to do it. We need tools, and we need a way to summon the Gaia Guardian. So let's deal with the summoning bit first. We need a piece of Terra Steel. Now, there's a lot that goes into this mod again, so I'm just going to show you the bits that go into Terra Steel, and you can explore on how you'd get those yourself. So I have an Ender Pearl, and here's one function of a mana pool, is you can just drop stuff into it. And now I have a Mana Pearl. So, alright, watch closely, because this is going to happen fast. Mana Pearl, Mana Steel Ingot, Mana Diamond. Terra Steel. So here's the idea. We're going to go up and we're going to place the Terra Steel on the beacon, but first we need some stuff. We need some potions, like brews and stuff. So Flask of Fortitude and Flask of Shielding. Those are both super important. And the other thing we're going to need is this tool called this guy, the Rod of the Unstable Reservoir. Now I haven't seen anyone else pick on this before, but it is a very useful tool for fighting off a lot of weak enemies at once. So I believe that's everything, so I'll just take my armor off. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to start with my bow, and I'll have this rod later. So the tricky thing about this is that most projectiles actually don't hurt the Gaia Guardian, and there are kind of only two big exceptions to that. One is this crystal bow, and the other is called a thorn chakram, which are super expensive, and I don't want to make them. Okay, so first things first, we walk up to it, and we shift right-click, and it says it will not accept your sacrifice. Basically, we need to clear out all the grass. Alright, let's try that again. No. Aha! Piece of moss. Let's try this again. Again. Eat first. These are biscuits of totality, by the way, which totally restore your hunger. And click. And that summons the Guy Guardians. So, here's the trick. We just have to keep moving and avoid this purple stuff. Ouch! Oh, oh, it hurts. It burns. It burns so bad. This purple stuff gives you a wither effect, so you do want to make sure to stay out of it. But normally, if you jump, you'll be okay. Da-da-da, everything is fine. I'm not panicking at all. Everything is fine. It's fine. Okay. And yeah, he'll summon these dark things, which is, I believe they're called pixies. And that's what this rod is for. Now at some point he's going to become invulnerable. Ouch! Oh, oh no! Oh, it hurts! Oh, he's doing the thing! And this is where this rod becomes very useful indeed. See, it lets out almost like magic missiles, which will hunt down and like shoot like unwelcome mobs, which is really nice. So we'll just keep blasting him until he gets tired of it and gets back down here. Yep, here we go. Ah! Oh gosh. Oh, it burns. Okay. Everything's fine. Bob and weaving, bob and weaving, bob and weaving. Ah! Oh no! This is fine. Everything is fine. Oh no! Health first. Health first. This is fine. Bam! Bam! Dang it! Get back here. Yay! We got it! Woo! And that is how that advancement is done. But while I clean up, I want you to think about something, and that is the Nether. Now, with this world, I wanted to be really thorough, but right now, the Nether is like the worst possible spawn. It's just sitting in a giant lava lake way above everything. So we're going to change that. We are going to build a pale shadow of this build, this castle, in the Nether. We're going to build it on a floating island of black stone instead of stone. And my goal is for it to be kind of like roughly reminiscent of this, but also very like different and otherworldly. Like it'll have different colors and somewhat different shapes. Oh, and by the way, when I'm building, I always have a tree in my base. I struggle with trees, but I do always have a tree in my base. So, without further ado, let's hop into the Nether and hit it. So, if you look around, you might immediately notice that I have a new potion effect, and that is emptiness. This potion effect means that nothing will spawn around me for a radius of 128 blocks. So let's take a quick look around the different bits of the build and see what we got. First off, I do have my tree, like I said earlier. I'm not quite sure what to think about it, but I do really love this trunk texture. I saw this on BWO's channel and I just loved it, so I had to have it. So it is very it's almost cottagecore, honestly, the way that it's built. It's like very pointy, and there's a lot of plants and whatnot. What are you doing here? I know I just said I had emptiness, which would stop stuff from spawning. These guys spawned in like the tiny amount of time that I left and then came back. Really annoying. Anyway, so I have my big pile of diamonds, I have a big pile of gold, and I have, of course, my full diamond beacon. I'm not quite sure how I want to decorate this yet, but I'll get there. But yeah, this is a variant of grass that Botania adds that is like fiery and red, and I really like it. So I thought, why not? And then yeah, this is very much in the same strain as the overworld, I think, where if you've got this like almost cottagecore look, but at the same time the roofs have these like winged look, and they're blue. I've never really used copper like this before, so I think it looks really great. And then I have the requisite like Piglin trading hall, and yeah, and just some storage. Like I've got my shulker box storage in here, and then a whole bunch of random junk that is mostly related to the Nether in here. And of course a set of nice Botania armor that is specially enchanted with fire protection, because why not? One other fun thing about this is that these two blocks right here look a little bit different because they're not actually quartz bricks, even though they look like them. Botania has a block called an abstruse platform that you can disguise to take on the look of any block, but it doesn't really actually have any substance. So I can just hop up and pop straight through. And I can go into the background just to make sure, for example, that maybe I want to refill on gold or something. Not super high tech, but I didn't really... This build is kind of at the end of my world, so I figured it doesn't need to be super high tech. But yeah, I really love how this build turned out. I feel like it matches the overworld really well, and yeah, I'm super happy with it. One fun thing is that I mentioned that bit of emptiness. It's actually provided by these things called incense sticks. If I dig down to here... Why do you exist? I have a bit of a redstone system down here, combined like redstone and Botania system to infuse, place, and then light incense sticks that will provide emptiness. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and you may have noticed that I can just like hop into creative mode, or at least creative flight. That's because I have on my head a trinket called the Flugel Tiara, and that allows you to get just a little bit of creative flight. So it's limited. That this like hotbar over here will, as you can see, slowly start to decrease, and that's like the timer on the creative flight. So if I land again, that'll start to recharge. But enough, because we have more to get to, and we should be moving on. So back to the overworld. So I do want to show you just a couple of cool things. You may have noticed me jumping around a little bit using these things. These are called luminizers. They allow you to transport yourself quickly. So if I right click, it will go to the industrial area. Obviously this is a tech mod. There's a lot going on here. All of these mana pools refill themselves, and there is a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes. So let's take a quick look. Now there's way more happening down here than I could possibly explain even using 3 or 4 different videos of this length, so I'm just going to give you like the Donaghy summary. There's a bunch of different farms, and they're all connected to each other, producing everything from like sugarcane to honey to like a mob farm to crops to like dungeon loot to pumpkins and melons to wood. They're all hooked up together using this awesome corporea system that I mentioned earlier, and I believe all of them actually use Botania mechanics in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just to collect the items that they drop. There's automatic crafting, there's automatic farming, and there's a whole bunch of really awesome stuff. So again, if you're interested in how all this stuff works, I would check out the mod and just start designing for yourself. But one thing I do want to show you real quick is my trophy room. So if you go down this way in this world, you will see a fork in the road with two identical doors. Now one of these leads to the trophy room, and one of them does not. And the answer is not, in fact, in this skeleton head. I forgot to put one in the other place. The answer is actually in these signs. So it says, all who enter must prepare. Heed this warning or despair. Right or left, choose the path, but choose well, or feel my wrath. Behind one door riches lie, but if you listen, you will die. And so that basically there are two doors. Behind one of them is death, behind the other is fabulous wealth and riches. So there are two guardians. I am the guardian, the wealth inside will grant your heart's desire, and on the other side, I am the guardian, behind my door is treasure if you are worthy. And then there are just some extra hints, saying like, the heart of gold may not but rise, but this choice is one of size, and what lies behind, what lies ahead, many roads now must be tread. Basically, I came up with some poems and some like doggerel to try and figure out, like, can I write a poem to like hint at what door is the correct one? So let me know in the comments what you think the correct door is. If you go in the correct door, then you will enter the vault. There's like gold and emeralds, and this is actually a full block of terra steel, which is actually super expensive to make, and there's mana diamonds and beacons and diamonds, and also a whole bunch of stuff. There's a skeleton head, there's my like first solid sword, there's my best first axe, there's an axe that actually beheaded the Gaia Guardian, so you can actually get mob heads by using this thing called an Elementium axe. There are some neat swords, there's a bottle of mana that was bugged, it actually never emptied. I was really happy with getting this advancement, 2 birds, 1 arrow, because I'd never gotten it before. I got another star and then a trident. The first one I actually lost, so this is actually trident number 2, but getting that in Skyblock was something I'd never done before, and then I defeated 20 dragons, and here's a Thundercaller, which is another really neat sword. Just look at the texture on that thing. There's a little bit of anime Easter eggs right there for you, and then a flare chakram, which those are pretty cool too. But I did mention that I had defeated 20 dragons, so you might ask, what's next? What could possibly come next in this awesome world? Well, I'm going to build the end. I'm going to build the end in a way that I think is perfect for a Botania Skyblock world, and I think it's going to be amazing. So one mechanic in this mode that is a little bit unique is that you can actually craft end portal frames. You do that after you beat the Gaia Guardian, so you have this progression from like Wither to Gaia Guardian to the end. And I've actually gotten to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a giant end build. I'm going to make an end build worthy of Botania. So, one more time for this episode, hit it. I am so happy with how this turned out. It is a giant lotus flower in like a bowl of water, sitting and floating in space. This is, I don't know why, but I feel like this is absolutely perfect for this mod, and certainly how I've been playing it. So basically I have a huge flower surrounding the main end portal, and then this I actually got the idea kind of from Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. Like, it's not quite the same, but I did want to experiment with some of the new blocks, mainly this guy right here. This is called a corporeal block, and I think it looks amazing, and so I thought it would make a really neat, like, outer ring to this build. We also have some kind of, like, I don't know, monument on top of each of the end portals, so I think that looks pretty cool. But one thing I actually did want to mention that you can actually try out yourself, and that I would actually love to see kind of taken on as a trend, was that the way I picked the shape of each of these petals was I kind of had one individual one, and then I took the height of the obsidian pillar, you know, by that like little piece of bedrock, and decided that I would build one petal coming out to each piece of bedrock. So you have this like really neat random effect of like each petal going to a different height. And yeah, I think it turned out really well, really nice, really lifelike. And then I can't find a flower that quite matches this, but actual orchids and lilies and lotuses are way too hard, I think, and something that I just can't capture. So I feel like this does justice to my original vision and works out really well. So when you first spawn into the end, you don't actually see, because I thought that would ruin the sightline. That would like ruin the view of the build, and you actually have to be a lot higher to actually be able to see the build properly. So I added a little bit of Botania magic and a couple of those like fully transparent blocks, those abstruse platforms. So now when you jump, it'll actually yeet you way up into the air and actually onto the rainbow road. So if I just jump, you can just immediately start flying, and it spits you out at just the perfect height to just get a real good gander at the flower to start. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would you do one of these randomized builds yourself, or would you leave it for someone else to do? But anyway, folks, as much fun as this world is, I think that I am officially calling it that this will be the end. I think, done with this world. I've done everything that I wanted to do. I've built everything that I wanted to build. I've automated everything that I wanted to automate. I have plenty of mana. I have everything I wanted to make. I have this beautiful tree. I have this beautiful build. I've automated and built in all 3 dimensions. I've captured, I think, my opinion of the spirit of Botania just perfectly. And so yeah, I think that is it. This has been a passion project and quite literally months of work. I know that it looks really quick on a time lapse, but it's taken quite a while. So if you enjoyed the video, please comment, share it out. I would love to see more of these Botania Let's Plays. I really do think this mod deserves more attention. It has been updated to 1.19, so it is very current. So yeah, that's all I've got, and I am calling this video done. Have a good one, everyone. Ciao.